We decided to renovate our 1906 house, partially because it was falling into the ground. There was no foundation. It was built on about 6 rocks. So we knew when we bought it we were going to have to do something about that. And a couple years after buying the house, we decided to do this addition. And so we worked with Hammer and Hand and Joe Herrin at Heliotrope on that.
We took this as an interesting opportunity to play off the existing structure and say, well, how would we maybe do something that relates to this existing structure without overwhelming it, without being something that is now something completely different, but had a relationship and dialogue with it. And so where we ended up was that the form the addition takes is something very similar to the existing house, only larger.
We didn't want to hide the old house or make it look like it was one big house. So another way we contributed, I feel, is we talked to Joe about color, and that came up in some of our conversations. And this idea of painting the original house white and then the new house black to just further emphasize that these are different, 2 different styles. And we're not trying to hide or play up one or the other. They're just existing together, and it just works.
We did a bunch of research on the architect side and also a bunch of research on the contractor side, and went through a bunch of interviews and met with a bunch of people, and had Sam and Dan out from Hammer and Hand. We had a great conversation with both of those guys, felt really good about their level of knowledge in passive house for one, but also just advanced building. And that was something that I'd become passionate about, was if we're going to build a house for the next 100 years, let's build it smart, and let's partner with the right people. And so Sam and Dan really came to the table with a lot of knowledge and made us feel confident that we could come out with a great product.
The clients were fantastic to work with. Very involved, very interested. Lots of fun communication and conversations about what the capacities and what could do, and okay, how do we do this within this budgetary elements, but also if the budget, just really enjoyable conversations about what things could be. If budget wasn't an issue, where would we go? Okay, budget's an issue. Where are we going to go now? And being able to develop details from the beginning, but as we move through the project, all the decisions that needed to be made as construction was progressing.
It was a lot of fun working with Hammer and Hand on which parts do we try to tackle and take on, because we were being pretty realistic with we could tackle this part of it, say like the shingles on the house. We feel like we can do that while you guys are still framing. So Mac and I drove to the coast of Washington and bought the shingles from the mill and brought them back up here in a truck and started staining each shingle by hand, and then worked with Dan though on detailing out a rain screen that was going to work. Just all these bits and pieces were great to learn from Dan, and then be able to do ourselves and feel great like we were helping out on the project too.
The take home for me is how enjoyable it can be to work with an involved client on a high-performance project that has a lot of beautiful design elements.
It's been great working with Hammer and Hand, and yeah, I don't know. The project's really coming along nicely, so we're excited.